What's going on, growers? It's James Prigioni coming to you live from Jersey. Today, I want to show you the garden that most people call me crazy for planting and some of the things we're harvesting. Let's go! Most people thought I was crazy when they found that I was going to start a garden without tilling at all. Instead, I was going to use a thick wood chip mulch. But they thought I was even crazier when I said I was going to mimic my whole garden, this whole system, after a natural forest. But instead of growing other things, I was going to grow all food. That's what we have here. Before I get too much into this 7 or 8 year old food forest, as you can see, covered with fruit trees, a lot of fruit on them, let me take you into the new food forest, just 2 years old, show you what you can have in a short amount of time. Like I mentioned, this food forest is in its 2nd year. So a lot of the fruit trees that we put in here, they're still small, they're not producing yet. But while we're waiting for them to, there's a lot of things we have growing. We're making sure we utilize as much space as we can. Plenty of annuals, a lot of other perennials and stuff. So let me bring you along, show you some of the things we have planted that we're getting production from now. As I start things off in the 2-year-old food forest I got tucked behind me, first thing I want to show you is the zucchini that we have right when you walk in. Doing real well. Already zucchinis on it, which is a great sign. I know I saw a number of them in here. A bunch of flowers too. Some small zucchinis. Got some right there. A few more back here. So soon we should be overloaded with zucchini. I love fresh zucchini. I make zucchini parm lasagna. I eat them fresh. I do all different things with them. Behind that, we've got some perpetual spinach that's doing real well. Behind that. And as you can see right here, we've got some spinach going to seed. I'm going to go through and cut a lot of that out today and then plant some other things in its location. Then behind the zucchini, we've got some dragon tongue beans doing real well, starting to produce, got little beans on them, so soon we'll be eating fresh green beans, love those. Also fixing nitrogen to the soil. And then underneath that, we also have beets planted. So these beets are doing well. I've been thinning them out and eating some of the beets when they're young. And the beet greens are also good to eat. Strawberries have slowed down in production. We're kind of more to the tail end of the year, but they've just been incredible this year. I'm real happy with the production. Still got some milkweed in here, making sure we're looking out for the monarch butterflies. Some more zucchini and squash planted in this location here, a different variety as you can see. This is like a striped variety. I think this is a relatively popular Italian variety. So I've grown that one before, I really like it. Then the tomatoes have just really blown up and excelled excellently after they've set their new roots into the ground. Got a nice little row of them as you can see right here. And these tomatoes are gonna get like 6 to 10 feet tall. Another couple rows of them here. These 5 or 6 in the front here are ones that we planted with the fish underneath them. So I'm not seeing any large difference yet between some of the other tomatoes, but they're still growing excellently. And one thing we stay on top of is making sure we prune these tomatoes, take the suckers off. That's one of the ways we get them growing so tall up the stakes, because we only have them growing up the one stem. As you can see in front of me right here, the strawberries are really starting to send out their runners. So this area should be heavily expanded, which is going to be great. Even more strawberries next year. Some of these tomatoes just really have taken in after we planted them super deep into the ground. So they were a little slow to go because they had to produce all the new roots for how deep we planted them. But now they're in and now they're growing excellently. And we've got basil and different things mixed in everywhere as good companions for those tomatoes. So everywhere you see a stake, we have a tomato planted. The idea is we're gonna have this little alleyway down here, tomatoes growing all the way up to here, just grabbing them left and right. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. And below us here, we have the strawberries. And whenever we see flowers on the newly planted strawberries like this, we pick them off. We want this to produce runners and focus on expanding, getting a thick matted row, so next year we have a huge harvest. More tomatoes planted, doing really well. And these strawberries over here are still producing nicely. We've got some zucchini here, just starting out in production, having a little powdery mildew, but I think it'll be okay. Let me just grab a little strawberry. Still getting a lot of strawberries from this section. This round of them are a little smaller, but still super delicious. I've been eating so many strawberries this year, I'm just blown away, and I'm just so thankful that we're getting harvests like this. So sweet, so good. This is why we do it. This is why we grow our own food. This is why we go back to eating and organic. Now, let's move along a little bit to a new section of the garden. In this front corner here, we have a number of things planted. We've got some peppers that are still adjusting a little more from their transplant shock, but some of the new growth is green. These are gonna produce well, I know that. And I think we're gonna get some great sweet peppers out of those. In front of me here, we've got some purple beans that have just started to flower, and they've got some small beans on them, so soon we'll have a nice bean production. It's nice how it works, how we're still getting some peas, but for the most part, a lot of the peas are finishing up. I mean, we still got some snow peas here and peas in different locations, but the beans will follow up right after those. Then here we've got some more dragon tongue beans. So if you've never planted the dragon tongue beans, I highly suggest you do. They're a great producer, they're a beautiful bean, and they also just taste very good. So it's an all-around great bean. Getting a few bites here and there, but shouldn't be an issue at all. We made sure we thinned those out as they were coming up. Then you'll notice here, what people might be questioning what this is actually a carrot that's going to seed. So last fall, I planted carrots here, we harvest them. I guess I missed one or two, but we're gonna let this flower because it's got this classic umbrella-shaped flower here, which draws in a lot of pollinators. And it's similar to this cilantro, which is flowering right in front of us as well. It's got the same set of umbrella-shaped flowers, and these draw in, like I said, a lot of pollinators, so it's good to have in the garden to bring those different insects in. Right here next to me, we've got a bunch of different kinds of carrots planted, and we've got tomatoes next to them. Carrots love tomatoes. I talk about that a lot, and so we try to use those as companions planted next to each other. Let me actually grab one of these carrots, see how they're doing. Some of them we have planted pretty close. This looks like it's a red carrot. I think this is the atomic red. So as you can see, the color of it, still a little small, but really striking in the color. Let me crack it open for you. So it's a nice contrast in color. Take a little bite of that. A little dirt on it, but like they say, dirt never hurt. Good carrot flavor. Not super sweet like you get for some of the late fall carrots, because once it starts to get really cold in the fall, a lot of the sweetness comes up, the sugars are increasing the carrot. So pretty good flavor. Not the best, not as good as fall carrots, but still really good. I know someone who would definitely like a bite of this one though. Let's bring it over to Tuck. So I know Tuck's gonna like this. He loves his carrot.
Lord, I pray, let them be safe. No turning back, I'm just a mile away from home. Sit here, wait, let me be patient.
That's one of the reasons we can't have Tuck in the garden all the time, because he'll sniff these carrots right out and just go to town on them. As Tuck is finishing his carrot, right next to us here we've got some cucumbers that are doing well. Soon we'll have cucumbers growing up this fence. And we do still have a lot of the grapes, which are doing real well. And you guys might remember how thoroughly I cut down these grapes and prune them back, but now they're just doing real well. Even got some basil planted by the carrots and the tomatoes, just adding companions whenever we can. Like I mentioned, we're still getting a good amount of peas, but they're really at the end of the season for the most part. Still getting production and still really enjoying these. As you can see, this section has got a good amount of them on it. And as we look over to the old food forest, that fence line is loaded with peas too. So we'll start working into that garden and then move to the side garden where we have a bunch of black-cap raspberries ready and blueberries as well. One thing that I think is important when growing food like this or gardening in this manner is to have the mentality where you're like, what if it all works out? To have faith that what you're doing will work. Because if you don't, then it's likely that it won't. I truly believe that for anything to be good, you have to have faith in order for it to come together. Because if you have that idea, if you have a negative mindset about if it's not going to work, if you have faith that it won't work, then basically you're going to be looking for all the reasons to quit, all the reasons it's not doing well. But if you have the faith that it will, if you have the mentality where you think it's going to go well, the likelihood is you're going to stick with it. You're going to change things if it needs to be changed. So I think that's so important. Because gardening, I mean, when you think about it, it's kind of a crazy concept. You just take this little seed that looks like it's dead, you throw it in the ground, and you wait a little while, it grows into a plant, then it produces fruit and even more seed. So the whole thing is just a process where, for me, it's almost even hard to wrap your head around. If you guys are enjoying this video, if you're getting some encouragement out of it, I ask that you hit the subscribe button so you can follow along as we continue to just grow with the garden. We're gonna be harvesting a lot more things coming up. Soon the harvest videos will be coming out, so I don't want you guys to be missing those. And if you do want to contribute to the channel, you can check out the shirts and the merchandise that we produced. There'll be a link in the description, and then you can also scroll through at the bottom of the video. Now, I want to quickly take you through the older food forest. As you can see, it's getting dense in here, and you can see why we have that word forest, because it truly is like a food forest. Well, it truly is like a forest, but it's all food. Right here, we've got some pears that are doing real well, some Moonglow pears. Always a good producer for us. Lemon balm on the ground. Cherry tree that we got some cherries from this year. Not a lot, but we got some. Right here, one of my pride and joys, the Prigioni apple, our own homegrown apple. This is from seed, so it's not the biggest apples, but they're delicious and it's unique to have. I've got this almond tree here that hasn't produced for us really much, but we're gonna be patient on it. Some grapes, some Concord grapes here. As I come around this side, we've got some peaches, as you can see right above my head. A number of peaches, they're doing real well. The most peaches it's ever had on it, which is encouraging. Got an apple tree over here with some apples. The plum curculio is something that attacks a lot of our stuff, so we've got this surround clay spray on it. So it's helping a little bit, and we're hoping to get some good apples from it. As Tuck is underneath there playing, just having a little fun. Like usual, just enjoying the garden. As we move back here, you can see we've got just a bunch of fruit trees packed in a small space. So I planted a lot of trees. I may take 1 or 2 of them out this year just to open up some of the space for the trees that are really producing well. Right behind us here, we've got an apricot tree, and it's got a lot of apricots on it this year. Hoping to get a nice harvest from it. As you can see, they're already getting a beautiful, beautiful color to them. So the curculio got some of them, and the apricots actually rot on the tree. So this is what happens. We're going to make sure we remove these from the garden. But in some locations, we've got some beautiful apricots still ripening. Like this branch right here, it's got a lot of fruit on it. That one looks like it actually went bad. We'll remove that one. But a lot of them look really good. So that's encouraging to see. We're happy about that. And now I'm going to sneak back behind here, and I'm going to grab some currants that are producing real well for us. So currants are a unique thing to grow and plant. These ones are probably our heaviest producers as of right now. They're real good fruit too. Pretty unique. And we just grab some of these clusters like this, take them off. And to get a nice mouthful of them, there's nothing like it.
To hear my prayers, my hopes, my dreams, my every need. I pray for light in times of dark.
Sweet, but a little tart also. So good, so flavorful. Now we're gonna move our way back through the forest. I got Tuck behind me following along. And we're just gonna move through like it is a natural forest with the grapes above me. Got some more apples over here. I got blackberries over here. I wanna show you some of these blackberries. And these are a little slower to ripen than some of the other berries, but once the berry season starts, they just keep coming. We go from strawberries to raspberries, to black cap raspberries, to blackberries, to gooseberries, to currants, so there's always something fresh. Got another new apple tree from seed right here. Then I've got some beautiful raspberries, some yellow raspberries that I love eating as I move my way through here. I'm gonna grab a couple of them. Some ripe ones. These are the yellow and raspberries. And good producers, as I grab a few more. As you can see, nice color to them, and they're so sweet. Excellent berries when you're eating them fresh. Best time to get berries are right in the morning when they're nice and cool.
What's meant to be will always be, though I control my destiny. Free will you gave me.
So good. Right next to me here, we've got 2 varieties of gooseberries, and they're starting to ripen up nicely. Got some, this one looks like it's got bit before, but over here I know we've got some beautiful ripe bushes. You can see, this is a nice ripe one here. These are things you're not really gonna be finding in the store too much. Pretty unique, very delicious, a little tart. I believe it's in the same family as the currants, so.
Be careful of the things you do, it eventually comes back to you.
That's a real good variety too, that's the Welcome. We've got the Captivator gooseberry and the Welcome. Grab another one real quick. And I know that there's a bunch of ripe ones that you can see. Got many more back there. And these are a nice size gooseberry, as you can see. And if you take a quick look at all these branches, you can see soon we're gonna have an abundance of gooseberries. But gooseberries are supposed to be excellent in pies. So we're gonna make sure we make some pies this year. We do what we can to utilize the harvest as much as we can. So that's always encouraging to see when you're getting good production out of some of your more unique fruits. It's always fun to eat things you can't find in the store.
Sometimes it's hard to ease my mind to realize.
So good. Let me bring you over to the side garden now, where we have even more berries ripe, ready, and the blessings just keep coming. Over on the side garden now, first thing I wanted to show you is this Saskatoon right here. Thing's loaded, service berry. So it's got these little berries on it. They almost look like blueberries. They look real similar. They taste different than blueberries though. They're still good, not as good as a blueberry, but they do have a good flavor to them. As you can see, they get very large. Right here we do have a blueberry plant. This one is just ridiculously loaded with berries. Look at this section right here. Look how many blueberries we got on that. That is just beautiful. I love to see that. And these are usually relatively big blueberries. Some of them are starting to ripen up, as you can see right there, but I've got other plants that are already ripe. Look at that set right there. I love to see it. And now we've got the red fleshed apples. These ones are looking really good as well. So they're looking healthy and they're gonna be delicious, I know that. Underneath it, we've got some strawberries still producing. So as other berries start to come in, we're still making sure we get a lot of strawberries. Look at this looking funny looking one. It's pretty cool, unique. And more red fleshed apples doing real well. And we've got the boysenberries and the tayberries. Those are starting to get some color to them, just like the blackberries. They're a little bit behind some of the other berries. They take a little longer to ripen on the bush. They're actually on the bramble, which is what they are. Now I want to take you over to some of these blueberries that are actually ready and ripe. So we're eating these. As you can see, we've got nice size to the blueberries, and even the plant over there is just loaded with blueberries as well. As you can see, this blueberry right here has a lot of ripe fruit on it, and they're good size. These berries, I'm going to grab some of them. You can see a nice cluster right here starting to ripen up, and we love having these big. These are the Chandler blueberries. So nice big blueberries. You grab a couple of these. That's almost like, I don't know, that's a nice, if you get the tiny little blueberries, they're good in flavor, but some of these getting a whole handful, I mean, there's nothing like filling your mouth up with them.
You're always with me, waiting, willing to hear my prayers, my hopes, my dreams, my everything.
See, blueberries that you grow taste nothing like the ones in the store. These have like that true blueberry taste to them. You just can't beat it. Even this little plant here is producing relatively well. And we've got a couple different blueberries on it. But let me move behind me, where this variety is excelling. We've got the thick wood chips around them. Some of this section here, we have some weeds growing because we don't have the wood chips thick enough, because the place where I usually get them doesn't have them right now. But we're still getting good production because through the years we've really kept the wood chips thick around the berries. So like I said, we go from one season to the next when it comes to berries. We always have fresh, ripe ones. There's nothing like eating them right from the garden.
I pray for wisdom and understanding.
Blueberries, strawberries are some of my favorite garden snacks, but one of my all-time favorite raspberries is starting to ripen up right behind me. Let me show you those. So besides having all these gooseberries here, which are getting close as well, and a smaller variety of blueberries right there, more blueberries over here. I've talked about it before, but this section, this is my food forest that specializes in berry production. So that's one of the main goals in this section. We do have some fruit trees added in because it's hard for us to plant anything without putting fruit trees in. But back here are some of my favorite kinds of raspberries. These are black cap raspberries. As you can see, this is one kind of the way that they fruit. They fruit on second year canes. So you want to, and on lateral growth, so you want to encourage that. After these stop fruiting, they'll die off. But these are one of my favorite berries. I got some here, I got one here, and then behind me, you can see a number of them that are ripe back here. Here's a good ripe one right here. So soon we're gonna have plenty of these black cap raspberries. So these ones tend to have some seeds in them, but I mean the flavor of these compared to some of the other raspberries, I don't know why, I love these. Such a distinct, unique flavor. And soon the harvests are going to be coming heavy. Got another one right here. So everywhere you turn, when you're in the berry garden, you get another snack. And that's today's video, growers. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had maybe almost as much fun as me and Tuck being out here, grabbing snacks, and we have a blast showing you the garden and making you guys a part of it. I just feel so thankful for coming out here, for sharing it with you all, for being around all the flowers and just being a part of nature. If you enjoyed the video, hit the subscribe button. If you want to contribute to the channel, check out some of the merchandise in the link in the description or even at the bottom of the video. Me and Tuck will be back at you real soon. We out.